And I think we're live. Welcome, guys. What is up? If this is the first time we're meeting, my name is Oliver. I'm a master's student in economics at Aalto University here in Finland. And on this channel, we talk about education and early career development, specifically here in Finland. So if you are new here, do consider subscribing. So this is a weekly live Q&A, and basically during these weekly question and answers live streams, I answer your most burning questions about living, studying, and working in Finland. And how these live streams work is that there's a link to a Google form in the description box below. If you go all the way down to the description box below, and if you want me to answer any of your questions live, please post your question into the Google form, again down in the description box below, because when you post your question there, I will see all of the questions here on my computer in front of me, and I will be able to go through them in a first come, first serve basis. Usually, if there's any questions left over from last week, I will start this next week's stream with those questions. But before we jump into the actual questions, let me just quickly link this stream to our Discord server. So if you are not yet a member of our Discord server, the idea of this server is to build a community of people interested in working and studying in Finland. And in the server, I post updates about upcoming videos, these live streams, and we have a bit more personal dialogue about all of the topics that I mentioned. In addition, because the server is growing quite fast, people are actually helping each other quite a lot with, for example, university application related stuff. So again, if you're interested in joining our Discord server, you can find a link either in the description box below, again all the way down, or you can use the link that I'm about to post into the live chat right now. All right, awesome. Before I jump into the questions, let's say hi to a couple of people who just joined. Paras, what's up? Welcome back to the stream. Salve, awesome to have you here as well. Welcome to the stream. Yevgenia, glad to have you join the stream as well. I hope that the members only stream last night was helpful. I'm sorry I didn't have the time to answer your question. Today was our comment on the Discord server channel. Today was a bit of a busy day, but awesome to have you here nonetheless. Guys, again, once more, if you just joined, there's a Google form linked in the description box below. If you have any questions that you would like me to answer live about studying, living, or working in Finland, please post your question into the Google form, and then I will be able to go through the questions from my computer in the first come, first serve basis. And of course, all the regulars in the streams, I would be extremely grateful if you could please guide newcomers during the live stream about the question about the form, so that I don't miss any questions during this live stream. Anyways, let's start going through the different questions. There was a bunch left from last week, so I will start with them. And the first one comes from Anton from Russia, who is starting school this semester. And Anton is not necessarily looking to study, but to actually work. And the question is, what are the career opportunities in finance in Finland for international students? That's a great question. It's a pretty broad question, but let me give you a general overview. So in general, if you want to make sure that you have good career prospects in the future, there's basically two fields that almost guarantee that you will get a job before you graduate. One is business, and the second is IT, or computer sciences. In terms of business, finance is of course extremely popular. It is very highly sought after in most of the Finnish business schools. When you're actually selecting your major, or when you apply for your major, the application process can actually be quite rigorous because there's so many people want to actually study finance. This means that only the best students in schools of business in Finland actually get to study finance, meaning that the competition there is quite high, meaning that then the career prospects basically mean that the harder you work because there's competition, the better you're going to do in your work life. Also, in addition, when you graduate as a master's in finance in Finland, you can work for a myriad of different companies in consultancy, finance, banking, investment, just name it. Basically, any type of field in any kind of company, you can actually work as a master's in finance. So I would say that finance graduates have extremely good career opportunities. The average salaries are very, very much higher than in other fields, and the career development and salary development especially is quite steep, in a sense that it goes up really quickly. So if you're looking to do money, finance is a good choice. Fleisch, awesome to have you here. Welcome to the stream. Awesome. Oh, I did not see your message, but it's still awesome to have you in the live stream. Yevgenia, nice to hear that the members only stream was helpful. For everyone else just joining us, what I'm talking about is we held our first YouTube channel members only live stream yesterday, where I actually get to go deep into the questions of YouTube members. These live streams, we usually have quite a lot of people here, and I cannot go too deep into each topic. So if you want basically personal tutoring and advice, I do members only live streams once a month, and you need to be at least a Gandhi level channel member in order to have access to those live streams. If you're interested in learning about the different perks of being a channel member, you can click the join button just below the video, I think right there, and you should actually get a pop-up window showing all the different channel membership levels and the perks included. Anyways, the next question comes from Animesh, who's from India, and he's already studying in Finland at Aalto University and Tampere University, doing a bachelor's in engineering. Cool. And the question is it easy to get an internship as a first-year bachelor student? And if so, then how do I get it? That is an excellent question, and the answer is... The general answer here is that no, it's not easy to get an internship as a first-year bachelor student in Finland, simply because usually these internships, they start somewhere around your second year, or at least in your third year, or they don't necessarily require you. Most internships don't necessarily require you to be at a certain year in your studies. Rather, you have to think about this in the terms of these internships, especially for large companies, are going to have a lot of applicants, and since they don't have limitless positions, they of course want to get the most skilled and most experienced people, meaning that if you're a first year student, there's going to be a bunch of second year, third year students, or maybe a couple of master students, so you're always in a position of disadvantage in your first year. So it's not set in stone that you cannot get an internship position. However, I would say that you should not rely on it. However, then I have to go back a bit, because internships and the popularity of internships varies a bit between fields. And in my experience, internships, especially summer internships, are extremely popular, especially in the engineering fields. So there's a huge amount of really big Finnish companies, publicly traded companies, that hire a lot of students as interns, as summer employees. And I think that in terms of selecting a field where you actually can have you might have a possibility of getting an internship in your first year, general engineering fields are the best bet in this case. Again, I can't promise anything, but this is the way to go. In terms of how to get them or where to find them, I actually have a video about 15 different ways of finding part-time jobs as a student in Finland. Those same 15 advice also work for internships. So in that video, I mentioned different recruitment companies, student organizations, career fairs, university career services, etc. And all of those tools are also valid in this case, so when looking for internships. So definitely go through that video. You can actually find it on the channel. But I would say that especially for the early stage internships, like for your first year and second year students, many of those internships are actually marketed by different student organizations. So for example, you're an engineering student, you most likely are a member of a guild. So you should definitely be following the social media channels of that guild or organization, because they will be linking and sharing different internship opportunities from their partner companies. So I think this would be the best advice. Let's see who's here. We have Homicidal Chimpanzee. What's up? Welcome back to the stream. Awesome to have you here yet again. The same for Shannon. What's up? And Dennis, what is up? Everyone, I hope you are having a great Thursday or Friday. No, Thursday or Wednesday, I guess. I think it should be Thursday around the world. Never mind. I hope you're having a great day. Again, if you have any questions, just post them into the Google form, and I'll try to get to them as fast as possible. I already have quite a bit of a big of a bunch of questions in the queue, but I'll try to go through these as fast as possible. PB97, awesome to have you here as well. Welcome to the stream. If you have any questions, post them into the Google form, and I'll get there as fast as possible. Anyway, the next question from last week comes from Shivam Shinghal, who comes from India and is applying to Aalto University to do a master's degree in software engineering or computer sciences in the next application period. And the question/comment is, thanks for doing these streams. During my last visit to Aalto, I found that Aalto provides lots of research internships as the university itself. But how hard is it to find part-time jobs to earn the living as an English speaker? Good question. I actually have a dedicated video about this topic on the channel. It's a very complicated topic, and I actually go through the different costs and income requirements, line by line in Excel. So I actually calculate the amount of money you need to make per month after taxes, in order to be able to pay for your living expenses plus your tuition as a student in Finland. So go ahead and check out that video. It's in the channel. If you go to the channel and search for video, I think, can you study for free or how much, you should be able to find it. But as a general rule of thumb, it's as a student in Finland, international student in Finland, it is not easy to find a part-time job, considering that if you are a non-European or non-European economic area student, you can only work for 25 hours per week on average while you're studying. So because 25 weeks is only a portion of a normal work week, that means that you have to have a really high salary in order to pay for your living costs, and especially if you need to pay for your tuition with your salary. So I would say that it's not easy, and you really need to do the math before you even try it. And in order to do the math, again, the video, go and check that out from the channel. I go through the topic in a lot of detail as always, and I do hope that it helps. Marvin Martinez, welcome to the stream. Arthur, what's up, dude? Welcome to the stream yet again. Awesome to have you here as well. Guys, if you have any questions, I already have a bunch of questions in the queue, but if you want me to answer your question live, post your question into the Google form right now, so that you will have a chance to get your question answered during this week's stream. because the community is growing quite quickly, the amount of questions in these live streams is growing by the day. So it might be that I'm actually not able to go through all questions during one live stream. And one way to go around that, if you have a question that you really need to get answered, is by using a super chat. So super chats, if you have post a question with the super chat, they always go ahead of the queue in during this live stream. So just keep that in mind. Anyways, the next question comes from Santosh, who is from India, and who is coming to work to Finland, not for school. And he's working in the tech and IT field. And the question is, can you make a separate video about some top tech companies in Finland? Because I Google things related to this and get to know that there are not much top tech companies in Finland. And is it possible to get PR in Finland if I get citizenship in any European Union country anyhow? Okay, so there's a couple of things here. First of all, an interesting question. I might be able to do some kind of a video in the future about, you know, the best IT companies where you could work in Finland. Perhaps not during the first half of 2021, because there's so many different school related videos that I have to do. However, actually, I would like to tell you that there are actually a bunch of different really high, you know, top tech companies in Finland. You might not have simply found them. So sure, you know, Facebook or Amazon, they don't have operations in Finland, or if they do, they have very small operations. Same with Apple, for example. But then again, for example, Google, they do have operations in Finland, so they do have people working from here. But then there's a bunch of different other companies. We're talking about companies like Nokia. We're talking about companies like Smartly. We're talking about companies like what are these companies called? Just hold on a second. What else? Telia, for example. There's a lot of networking related companies. In addition, there's a lot of different tech consultant companies that are growing like hell. So I would say that there's a lot of really, really good tech companies, but if you want to work for like Facebook, then Finland is not your, you know, country, the country for your of your choice. And in terms of the question about would it be possible to get a PR or, you know, a good would it help you in terms of your recognition, you know, in terms of your PR or in terms of your status in Finland as a job seeker if you have citizenship in a European Union country? Yes and no. So I don't think that helps that much in terms of finding a job, especially since you are still a international, you know, job seeker. The only thing where it really helps is in terms of getting a visa to work in Finland. So if you are a non-European Union citizen and you want to work in Finland, but you do not yet live here under a already valid residence permit, getting a residence permit to work here can be quite taxing. So it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of time, and it can be sometimes a bit frustrating. So compare that to European Union citizens who can move to Finland any day and start working here as long as they have a job. So that's the only way I think having a European Union citizenship, if you are already anyways an international person, would help in terms of your like job seeker status. Who else do we have here? We have Salve again. Welcome to the stream, Jukta. Then we have Alex, welcome to the stream, as well as Sakura Herath, welcome to the stream as well. Salve, Pilande, if you could please post your question, the same question, into the Google form. There's actually a Google form linked in the description box below. You can see it between two yellow exclamation points. Usually how these streams work is that I don't answer questions from the live chat. The reason being that the live chat gets really busy and it's almost impossible for me to follow all the questions. So I have a Google form that I have open here in front of me on the computer. And if you post your question into the form, I will be able to answer all the questions in a first come, first serve basis. Optimistic Enigma, awesome to have you here. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome. Anyways, I hope everyone is doing well. I hope you guys are safe. I hope your new year has started well. My first 2 weeks of 2021 have been fantastic. But anyways, let's get back into the form because the next question comes from Denise, who's a regular on the channel from Turkey. And Denise, by the way, this is a question from last week, so don't get confused. Denise is still in high school and is interested in University of Oulu, the study of intercultural teaching education. And the question is, as I know, those who are the Swiss citizens like me do not have to pay tuition fees. That is correct. Also, I do not need to get a residence permit. That is also correct. Apart from these, do you know what advantages Swiss or EU citizens like me have over non-European Union citizens? Yes. So first of all, you do not have to go through the entire residence permit process. Means that also you don't have to, there's not as rigorous proof of financial funds for the immigration service, but the most important benefit I would think is access to healthcare. So as long as you're studying in Finland or working in Finland full time on a residence permit as a European Union citizen, if you have a European Union healthcare card, I think it's called, you can actually use public healthcare services in Finland as if you were a Finnish citizen. So international people who are not European Union citizens need to have an additional healthcare what is this called? Insurance, right? And this is one of the big benefits of being a EU resident. One other thing is, of course, since you do not need to have a valid residence permit to stay here, you simply need to have grounds of being here. That means that when you graduate, you don't have to hurry with getting a job. So if you compare to non-European Union international citizens or students, their residence permit is valid only until they graduate as whatever they are studying. And when they graduate, they need to apply for a extended permit to look for a job. And if they don't find a job within 1 year, they usually will not be, the residence permit usually will not be extended anymore. So they need to get a job pretty quickly after graduating in order to have the grounds of staying in Finland. In terms of European Union citizens, after you graduate, you can take a holiday and then you can start looking for a job. So there's multiple different benefits, but I think that these are the two biggest ones. Of course, I'm sure that there are multiple other things like using the accessibility, you being able to use the Interrail passes, whatever have you, services that are mostly available for European Union citizens. But yeah, these come to mind right now at this moment. Optimistic Enigma saying, damn, I'm 15 minutes late. Don't worry about it. You did not miss anything. If you want to check out the questions that I already answered in the beginning, you can just go backwards a bit, scroll past all the questions and see if there's anything interesting, and then come back to live. Don't worry. I don't think you missed that much. And then what do we have? And then Yevgenia asking, where's the coffee link? So where's the super chat link? So actually, if you look at the live chat box, excuse me, under the live chat box, you should see a kind of a rectangle that has a dollar sign inside of it. If you don't see it, that means that super chats are not available in your country. But by clicking that, then you should be able to give super chats if you so want. Anyways, the next question comes from Sam, who is from Egypt, and he's applying to study in Tampere. He's applying to study a master's degree in business at Tampere, in the University of Tampere, this upcoming application period. And Sam is asking, what is the most convenient and affordable phone plan? Which bank should I choose? Great questions, and these of course depend on your personal needs. This depends on what kind of services you need in terms of both your phone subscription as well as your banking services. However, I would say that at least one of the best mobile subscriptions that you can get is let's see. Unfortunately, this is, for some weird reason, this website is only in Finnish, but this is Elisa. Elisa is one of the largest, top 3 large internet providers, as well as phone subscription providers. They sell phones, they sell mobile phone subscriptions, internet connection, etc. And I've actually had a mobile plan from them for as long as I can remember. Hashtag this is not sponsored, but just a product that I like. And currently, again, I'm sorry, this is in Finnish, but I'll translate this as I'm reading it. I actually have this plan. So if you are already in Finland, or if you're coming to Finland and you want to get a mobile plan, check out this subscription plan. Huoleton 150 megabytes. So I'll explain what this includes. And do note that most big mobile phone providers and internet providers have almost identical subscription plans. So this is a monthly subscription. So you get a SIM card and then you pay this price per month. So the prices are almost identical with each provider. The perks and the services are almost identical, so you can basically just walk through all the different big companies in any shopping center or mall, and where they have pop-up stores, and you can ask for something like this. So Huoleton 150 megabytes means 150 megabytes of maximum speed for your mobile internet, which is plenty enough. That's 4G. There is absolutely no need for a 5G plan like what you have here. And this is very common nowadays in Finland and around European Union, if I understood correctly. Most of these mobile subscription plans have limitless internet usage, so you can use as much internet per month as you want. And this applies to Finland, the Nordic countries, which is Pohjola in Finnish, as well as the Baltic countries. So if you, for example, want to travel around the Nordics and in the Baltics while you're studying in Finland, you can use the same mobile subscription fee for all of those countries, and you will not pay any extra for roaming. So that's awesome. And then in addition, you will get 20 gigabytes of mobile internet usage around all other European Union countries per month. So this is really, really nice. And in addition, nowadays, basically every single mobile subscription plan has limitless phone calls and limitless messages that don't cost anything extra. I actually talked about this in the members only live stream last night, and no one ever, not that many people call nowadays. Not that many people just send SMS, because those are all done via WhatsApp or iMessages or something. So $29.90 per month, you get a really fast internet. You get a good services. Highly recommended. I have that similar kind of a subscription, so I can recommend it. Thriving with ASD, welcome to these channel memberships. Awesome to have you as a channel member. Saying sorry for joining a little late. Absolutely no problem. I appreciate you so much. Please go and check out the different small videos that I already have in the YouTube members community tab on the channel, and I will start posting regularly behind the scene videos about my everyday life, and you can actually also post recommendations on what kind of content you would like to get or see in terms of behind the scenes videos. And again, welcome to this membership. I appreciate so much. You guys are allowing me to actually do this full time, which is awesome. At the same time, Yevgenia, thank you so much for the €5 super chat. That is highly appreciated. Yevgenia saying thank you for the member stream again that we had last night for channel members only. Your answers were so helpful. Now we have enough information for preparing. Have a nice coffee. Thank you. I will have the next coffee tomorrow when I wake up, and thank you so much. That is paid by you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you as always. Where was I? Oh yeah. So the second question from Sam was, which bank should I use? This is highly personal. Depends on the services that you need. But if I share a couple of show a couple of banks that I can recommend. First one of them, I will not show the English speaking web pages. Just look up the URL and you can check them out. So first one is Nordea. It's one of the biggest Nordic banks, really highly commonly used. I'm actually a customer of Nordea. Then one is Danske Bank is another. Yes, I do. Yes. Oh, never mind. The third is OP. OP is another really good bank as well. Then we have Aktia Bank. Also a really good one. Some of them don't have their websites in English, so you need to contact them directly via their customer service, or then simply walk into their offices. But yeah, so basically, for example, Nordea, OP, Aktia, and then Danske Bank. All of these are awesome banks that I can highly recommend that you use. All of their services are pretty much the same. The pricing is pretty much the same. The field in Finland, banking services in Finland are highly competitive. So the prices are almost the same with each of them. So I don't know how to recommend a bank for you. Just choose whichever is the best. Anyways, the next question. Fleisch saying that, darn, I want to be a member too, but I'm still in high school and I don't have any money. Don't worry about it. I still appreciate the sentiment. Thank you so much. I'm doing this content for free for you guys, and if you are able to pitch in a bit per month or via super chats, I do appreciate it because that helps me run the channel. But if you are not able to do it, or if you don't want to do it, that's completely fine. You're still more than welcome to the streams and to the content as regular, so don't worry about it. The next question comes from Yevgenia. Again, this is a question from last week. And the question is Finnish education appreciated worldwide? Yes, it is. As simple as that. Yes, the Finnish education system and having a degree from Finland is very much appreciated worldwide. How do Finnish alumni succeed in other countries? I don't see any reason why you couldn't achieve excellent in other countries, not just Europe or the Nordics, but also in the States or in Asia. Especially if you study in a bit of a better school that is ranked higher, then you should do excellent in other schools as well. For example, I have a bunch of different friends from who I started studying at the same time with, and all of them are working abroad for a multitude of different companies in different fields. So yeah, definitely, absolutely, the Finnish education system and a degree from Finland is appreciated. Thriving with ASD saying that I'm planning to come to Finland to visit once it's safe. What do you think about Turku? How does it compare, in your opinion, to Helsinki? Great question. Unfortunately I've only been to Turku a few times. It's a really beautiful city. It's one of the oldest cities in Finland, and it's just lovely. It's a very, very nice place to be, especially during the summer. It's just, it's a nice city architecturally and as a place to live in. But in terms of how how are career opportunities there, that's a different question that I cannot really answer. But yeah, Turku is lovely. The next question comes from Sam, and the question is related to the earlier one. Do all banks have English support? I would think that they do. The one thing is that not all Finnish banks have English websites, which is completely insane and stupid, but I'm sure that they will have English support. Or I'm sorry, I will guarantee that they will have English support because they would lose customers if they didn't have any. The next one comes from Kartik from India, who is applying to study a master's in sustainable energy and in the field of electrical engineering at the University of Helsinki, Aalto University, Tampere University, and many more. And the question is, I have not given the IELTS tests yet, but the application deadlines are really close now, and I want to apply still. So will the certificate provided by the college stating that I have completed my master's degree in, my degree in English language work for temporary basis or not? No, it will not. Unless in order for you to use a certificate. Oh, all right. So let's go a bit backwards. So what Kartik is referring to is that when you apply to study in Finland, when you fill the application form, you have to prove your proficiency in English. And if you haven't done the IELTS or TOEFL or the SATs, whatever, some universities allow you to not do them if you have done your previous degree from from a university or school which is in a English speaking country. If I remember correctly, that means the US, the UK, Australia, and New Zealand, basically. So, but if you come from another country, in this case, for example, from India, no, you still need to do the IELTS or the TOEFL or whatever the language tests are. Yes, so that's how I've understood it. The next question comes from Javi Gonzalez, who comes from Spain, and he has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is thinking about a master's in design at Aalto University. And the question is, does any organization offer furnished accommodation? Yes, they do. So, for example, HOAS, which is one of the sponsors on the channel, hashtag not sponsoring this live stream. HOAS, for example, do have furnished student apartments, but they are pretty rare, and they are usually, most of them are reserved for exchange students. But I think they do have a few furnished apartments for degree students as well. On top of that, there's not that many different providers that actually provide apartments that are already furnished. And if they do, they're not, most of them are not student apartments. So there's a couple of these hotel type of or hostel type of companies that rent out rooms. So they're like a hotel room, but you have a kitchen and your own bathroom, or mostly your own kitchen, and those are furnished, but they're also pretty expensive. So I would say that if you come to study in Finland, apply for a student apartment, and if you're not able to get a student apartment that is furnished already, don't worry about it. You can get secondhand furnishments for quite a low price, so that should not be a problem. The next question comes from Saurabh, who again is a regular on the channel, and he is from India and is still in high school, but is interested in doing a degree in computer sciences. And Saurabh is saying, hi, I'm Saurabh, hope you remember me, I do. And a very happy new year. Due to some problems, I was unable to see your streams, and I have planned and consulted someone about studies, and I'm planning to do a bachelor's degree from India, and then will come to Finland for my master's. No doubts at this point, we'll let you know if any. All right, cool. So that was actually not a question, but Saurabh was saying that he would be doing his bachelor's in India and then come to Finland to do a master's degree. That is completely fine. A good plan. The next question comes from Kleb from Ukraine. And Kleb has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in a master's in intelligent transport systems. Cool. That's actually cool. And Kleb is saying good evening. Good evening to you as well. On which level of progress is ITS in Finland? So intelligent transport systems. If there is any grants for masters in this area, or are there any grants or scholarships for masters in this area, and which universities have the most advanced developed programs? Thank you. Great question. Unfortunately, this is a very specific question regarding a very specific field. So unfortunately, I do not know how to answer this. Or I'm sorry, I don't know enough about intelligent transport systems in order to be able to answer, unfortunately. What I would, the one thing that I would note is that if you're applying, if you want to study this field, I would not look for, if you, for example, Googled the different universities in Finland around this field, don't Google, X university intelligent transport systems, because they most likely do not have the degree program in this specific name. Rather, you need to look at the general field. So is this computer sciences related? Is this environmental engineering, or city building engineering or something like this? What is this about in general? And from there you can start looking for different master's programs, and then you might be able to study intelligent transport systems under those master's degrees which are named something else. Yeah, confusing answer, but I cannot give you any more specific information, unfortunately. The next question comes from Chris from the UK, who is applying to study at a master's degree in business at Aalto University in the next application period. And the question is, hey, my question is, how was your experience on the master's degree? Was the degree hard? Were the lectures compulsory? Overall, was the program adequate? Definitely adequate. It was awesome. I really enjoyed my master's, actually way more than my bachelor's. The reason why I enjoyed my master's degree so much more than bachelor's is because you go so much more deeper into the topics that you're studying. In your bachelor's degree in Finland, you basically go through the mandatory basic stuff. Like in your business degree, you go through your mandatory like accounting courses, your economics courses, finance courses, business law courses, and it's a very narrow look at these topics. However, when you go to your master's, you go really deep into that specific topic, and we the groups actually, the classes actually shrink down to very small groups, which means that they're more interactive, there's more discussion, it's more like intelligent discussion rather than just learning things by heart. So I really enjoyed my master's. For me, my master's degree actually was not that hard because I was so interested in the topic. Yes, it absolutely took work. It took a lot of hours to do all the courses and all the deliverables, for example. But in terms of difficulty, I do not want to say that it was difficult. The only thing that I find difficult is my thesis, because I suck at writing academic texts. So that's the hard part for me. In terms of compulsory lectures, in my specific major, I majored in, or my master's degree program was named Entrepreneurship and Innovation Management, and I majored in Sustainable Business. There were actually a lot of different courses that did not have a compulsory attendance. However, in my experience, it was better to be there because of the small group sizes and the importance of the discussion during those classes. Because if you have exams during your master studies, I did not actually have that many exams in my master studies. I think I had like 2 exams during my entire master studies, because most of the courses that I took were heavily focused on writing and on thinking and on ideation and more like high level stuff. So we didn't really learn stuff by heart for exams, and because of this, most of the content of the course actually came from the discussions, not from the lecture notes. So. But yeah, absolutely recommended. I think Aalto University is doing an excellent job with their master's degrees, and there is a reason why it's the top university in business in Finland. Paras, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. And Paras is saying, I really want to study masters in computer sciences. I have 2 years of experience in web development. What are the chances of me getting a job in Finland? A great question. This is a very difficult question for me to answer because it depends a bit on what kind of a job you're actually looking for. So 2 years of experience in web development doesn't really tell me that much, because in Finland, actually, years of experience is not used that much as a metric anymore in terms of recruitment, because years of experience, especially in software development, doesn't really tell you anything, because I can work for 2 years, but I can also suck at my work. But then on the other hand, I might have a year of work experience, but I've studied the things so much that I'm much better at what I do compared to even someone who has 3 or 4 years of experience. So in terms of your work experience, it's a bit difficult to say. However, a second thing that I have to note is that web development is basically the most common type of development that you can do. It's also more often considered as the simplest term of type of development work that you can do in Finland. So what this means is that there's quite a lot of people who know web development, especially if we're not talking about brand new frameworks that no one else knows. This means that there's more competition, and the threshold for you to get hired goes up, because you have to be better than other applicants. So if you want to optimize your chances of getting a job, I would either specialize in a framework which is very rare, or it's brand new and growing in popularity, or I would try to learn something else on top of web development. Really good tips are anything that has anything to do with cloud development, game development, mobile development, so meaning iOS or Android, and then what else do we have? Security, any type of security type of thing. Those are super hot topics in Finland in software development, and if you can become proficient in one of these, you're going to be really hot stuff on the Finnish job market. But so when you come to study a master's in computer sciences, it's not that likely that you will get a job right away after coming to Finland, because of course you first need to learn where to look for a job, how to look for a job, how does the Finnish job market actually work, how does the job application process here work, who to contact, when, and etc. So don't rely on getting a job right away. So I would say that as a master's student, you have overall better chances of getting a job compared to, for example, bachelor students. However, I would say that um, I think it would be realistic to think that you can get your first job in the at the end of your first academic year studying in Finland, meaning after you've done your first academic year of studies here, your master's. I think that's a realistic, take on this. Of course, you might prove me wrong, absolutely, but better be safe than sorry, I would say. Cool. Dominica, yes, I will have all the live streams saved. I actually have a playlist on the channel where I have all my previous live streams as well. So you can definitely come back later and check out this if you don't have the time right now. Anyways, the next question from the forum comes from James from the Netherlands, and James is applying to study a master's in master's in business at Aalto University in the next application period, specifically international business. And the question is, do you have any insights regarding the Masters of International Business and Management? Any tips from your friends studying this master? No, I actually don't have any friends studying the specific program called Masters in International Business and Management. And in terms of tips or insights, I basically, my program, which was again entrepreneurship and innovation management, it's actually done under the faculty of management. So I think I might have some insights for you. So first of all, as I mentioned, many of the courses in a master's in management program have prioritized writing and huge deliverables compared to exams. So I actually was able to do most of my masters without doing any exams. Again, 2 years of studies, I think I had like 2 or 3 exams during that entire period. And most of the rest of the courses had like massive deliverables, but I prefer writing a lot rather than learning stuff by heart for exams, because I hate studying for exams. Also, when I write long essays, that makes me think more, and I learn better that way. Then again, other insights. Not really. I would need to know more specific. What specifically are you looking for? What kind of insights do you want? What kind of questions you have? If you're still live, James, let me know in the chat what kind of things you're actually looking for or thinking about. But yeah, it's really hard to give you any more specifics unless you do. Anyways, the next one comes from Arthur, again, who's from Brazil. Arthur is a regular on the channel. Arthur is still in high school and is interested in doing a bachelor's in data sciences. And the question is, how should I refer to a professor in Finnish universities? How does your thesis work, and do you need to present your thesis to professors, or do you deliver it in writing? Thanks for the live, Oliver. Great questions, and these are actually 2 really cool like cultural questions that everyone is going to have to go through anyways at some point. So first of all, how should you refer or speak to a professor in Finnish universities? By their first name. In Finland, we like to keep things very informal, and we don't use titles, even if we speak in English. So there's no need for you to address a professor or your professor as Professor or by their last name, for example, like Sir or Mr. Rather, if the professor's name is Pasi Mönnönen, could be a real name, you can just call them Pasi. If you feel really, really awkward about that, then of course you can always say Professor Mönnönen. That's fine. No one will get offended. But for example, none of the Finnish students ever refer to their professors as professor. We call each other by our first names. The same goes to students. Our professors call us by our first names as well. So we like to keep things very informal. Also, by the way, in the Finnish language, for example, we don't have a word for you know, for example, like you have in the German language, you have Sie, which is it's a pronoun that is used as a polite version for you, right? And that's if you don't call an unknown person Sie pronoun, that actually can be quite offensive, or because you are not on first name basis. However, in Finland we don't even have that, so again we call each other with our first names. And then about the thesis, do you need to present your thesis to your professor, or do you deliver it in writing? Yes, you do deliver it in writing always, and you also have to submit. Nowadays, you submit your thesis through a digital system that checks, does a plagiarizing check automatically. So it goes through your entire thesis and gives you a score of how well you have actually cited. And if there's anything that needs to be corrected, then you can correct it before you actually submit your thesis. Whether or not you need to present your thesis and actually defend your thesis against an opponent, that depends on the faculty. So, for example, I had to defend my bachelor's thesis against an opponent during class, plus against my professor, because I did my bachelor's in the faculty of accounting. However, with my master's thesis, we actually do not have, you know, opponents that we need to defend our thesis against. Rather, I need to present it to my professor, who will then accept it to be submitted. And if the submission check is good and I don't have any problems with citation, then I can just submit it in writing to the university servers. Yeah. Fleisch, no, I did not get to your question yet. Don't worry about it. There's a bunch of questions here, so I'll try to get to them, to the newer ones, as soon as possible, but it will take a while. The next question comes also from Sam. And the question is, are there any fully funded master's scholarships? And if not, any master's programs which are offering bursary amounts to study? So every single Finnish university that has an English taught program where you have to pay tuition fees, they also have scholarship options, both in the bachelor's as well as in master's programs. Whether or not they have fully funded master's scholarships depends on the university itself. I don't remember them by heart, but I actually have a video on the channel called excuse me, University Scholarships for International Students in Finland Explained. And in the description box of that video, I actually have a free Google spreadsheet where I have listed all the different scholarships that Finnish universities have available. It's a big list. I don't remember it by heart, but for example, just to give you a couple of examples, Aalto University and the University of Helsinki both have, you know, fully funded scholarships, meaning 100% of your tuition fee. Again, however, do keep in mind that these are granted on a competitive basis, meaning that only the best applicants will be granted these kind of full scholarships. But yeah, so check out the video from my channel, which is called University Scholarships for International Students in Finland Explained. All right, the next question comes from Alexia from Romania. The next question comes from Alexia from Romania. And Alexia is still in high school, but is interested... Moment. Water. Where was I? Alexia is still in high school, but is interested in doing a bachelor's. Not sure about the actual field, but at the Aalto University School of Business. I'm sorry, a bachelor's in business, but not sure of the major. And the question is, she also says, I'm not sure exactly, but I have a few options I'm thinking about in terms of the major. The leading accounting and business law. The leading options are accounting and business law, Department of Information and Service Management, and the Department of Finance. All great options. And there's a couple of questions. First, do I have to pay tuition fees if I'm from the European Union? No, you do not have to pay any tuition fees if you are a European Union citizen. Second question, how hard is it to get into a business school? To a business school, it depends on the school. Aalto University School of Business is the highest ranking school of business in Finland, so it's not easy to get there. I would say it's impossible for me to say how hard it is because it depends on so many different things, and I would need to know your background as well and your, for example, high school diploma and how well you've done in high school. I will say that it's not easy to get into Aalto University School of Business. Again, reason being that it's the top school of business in Finland. That's the only thing that I can say about this. Number 3, how long before you recommend me to prepare? I actually don't understand the question. So if you are, Alexia, if you're still live, would you mind elaborating a bit more on the question, and I might be able to give you an answer. Anyways, the 4th question was about the English level test. Is Cambridge exam okay? In terms of Aalto University School of Business, you actually do not need to do a separate language test, I think. If I remember correctly, you need to check this from Aalto University's website. But I think what the Aalto University School of Business said on the website, if I remember correctly, is that they, because you have to do the SATs to apply to the business school, I think they were fine with you just doing the SATs, and if you get a high enough score, that also proves your proficiency in English, so you don't need to do a separate language test. And again, remember, this depends on the university, so this is only in terms of Aalto University School of Business. And 5, what are the basic materials that are studied at business school? So during your bachelor's, you basically do basic courses in all the different topics. Economics, finance, accounting, law, ethics as well, marketing, what else? I think those. Then you do a lot of language studies. So language studies are actually a pretty big part of your studies in the School of Business. And then when you go to do a master's, or after your first year in bachelor's, and when you go to your master's, you start really focusing on your own field. So for example, if you study finance, you can specialize in a bunch of different things, derivatives, banking, private investment, equity. If you do marketing, you can specialize in digital marketing, corporate marketing, international marketing, etc. So it's really hard to say, but all students have to go through these basic courses like, economics 101, accounting 101, etc. Cool. The next question comes from Henry from Germany. And Henry was here also last week, which is cool. And Henry is applying to study at Aalto University to do a bachelor's in international business or economics. And the question is, I saw that it is essential to take the SAT test for German students. I've already registered for the test in March 13th. Excuse me, but they asked me if I want to take the SAT test without an essay or without. Oh, actually, we got this question already last week. That's fine. I will answer this really quickly because I remember the answer here. I was looking for further information on Aalto University's website if the essay is essential as well, but I didn't find anything. Do you know if I have to take the SAT plus the essay as well, or only the regular SAT test without the extra essay? Great question. Let me just super quickly show this because I remember where I found it. So if you look at the Aalto University bachelor's programs in business, you go to economics, and then you go to how to apply. Then you look for SATs. SATs, admission group here. Right, admission group 2, and then you look at here. So SAT tests. So you need to do the evidence-based reading and writing and the mathematics sections. There's a typo. That's ja is Finnish, and it's supposed to be and. So you need to do the evidence-based reading and writing and the mathematics sections. So I'm not sure if the essay is included in these because I've never done the SATs myself, but this is what you need to do. So if you send this information to the SAT provider, they will know which specific sections you need to do in your tests. So again, go to Google, Aalto Bachelor's Programs in English. Go here, aalto.fi, Bachelor's programs in English. Then go for Bachelor's Programs in Economics. Then to how to apply, and then look for Admission Group 2, which is here under the section Admission Process, Admission Group 2, and then you have the SAT information here. Oops, sorry, I wasn't showing this. Sorry, excuse me, guys. Once more, super fast. Aalto Bachelor's in English in Google. First link, go down, Economics, how to apply, and then to Admission Process and Admission Group 2, and you got the information right here. All right. Sorry about that. All right. Nice. The next question comes from Sakura Mantrerante. Sorry for butchering your last name. But Sakura is from Sri Lanka, and she's already studying in Finland at the University of Helsinki, doing a master's in international law. And the question is, I would like to know about average costs of the programs and possibilities to have a job offer after completing the degree. Oh, I'm sorry, Sakura is not yet studying in Finland. Is there any master's degree programs with internship programs? So Sakura is talking about the master's programs in international law, finance, marketing, and HR at the University of Helsinki. So this is a really difficult question for me to answer because we're talking about these very specific degrees. However, I can give you a general answer here. So the average cost of master's degrees in the University of Helsinki depends on of course, on the program. However, the tuition fees for master's programs at the University of Helsinki go from 13,000 euros all the way up to 18,000. There's three types: 13, 15, and 18,000. There's only a couple that are 18,000, and I think that these all land in the 13 and 15,000 euro per year. After doing a master's in any of these fields, you will absolutely be able to get a job in Finland. Of course, nothing is automatic. You will not be offered a job, right there. However, you absolutely will have great career opportunities afterwards if you're able to do a master's in these programs. In terms of, is there any master's degree programs with internships, programs or opportunities? No. Finnish universities don't have internships built into the program's university degree itself. They simply don't work that way. Rather, you need to apply for an internship from a company, for example, for the summer or for the autumn. And usually, as I mentioned earlier in the stream, usually internships are valid. You're eligible to apply for internships after you've done your second or third year in your bachelor's. But if you are a master's student, you can apply for a internship in your first year. Anyway, the next question comes from Valentine from France, and Valentine is coming to Finland to work, and the question is, hey, I will soon start working for PwC, which is one of the big consultant companies global consultant companies. So I will start working for PwC in France. Do you perhaps know if PwC Finland often accepts international transfers, e.g. if I work for 2 years in audit and assurance and then ask for an assignment in Finland? I'm not 100% sure whether how this works, but absolutely yes, I do know that this happens. And considering that they of course want to, these kind of big consultant companies that work globally, they do want to rotate people around the world, especially inside Europe. So absolutely, you just need to, the only thing that you need to keep in mind is that you need to be proactive about this. I'm not sure I highly doubt that this kind of an opportunity will be offered to you, here, there, and then. Rather, you need to be super active in voicing your interest of doing a transfer or a rotation in Finland for a few years. Absolutely yes, this is an opportunity, but you need to be proactive about it. Applies to all the different big four consultant companies. So the literally, for those of you who don't know, there's basically 4 really big consultant companies that all business students want to work for, and PwC is one of them, and this applies to all of those companies. Arjuna, what's up? Welcome to the stream. I'm so sorry, I actually did not notice that you became a member last week. So again, thank you so much for becoming a member. And I hope that you have already gone to the YouTube community tab on the channel. And we actually had our first members only live stream yesterday, during which I answered a lot of questions from Yevgenia, and the idea is to hold those members only live streams once a month on the second Wednesday every single month, and I will be giving you a heads up in Discord. I will create Ariana, if you could please send me a DM on Discord, I will add you to the channel so that you will get a heads up before we actually get our members only live stream, so that you can post questions beforehand. And because there's only so few members at an appropriate level, you guys basically have an hour and a half, just maybe 2 or 3 of you just with me, and I can go really deep into your questions. So send me a DM on Discord, and I'll get you into the right channel. Once again, actually talking about the topic, if you guys are enjoying what I'm doing here on the channel, I would really appreciate if you guys would hit the like button, smash the like button. We're currently at 19 likes. It would be awesome to get that to 25. And again, if you are appreciating and getting value of what I'm doing here on the channel, I would really, really appreciate if you would consider becoming a channel member. Becoming a channel member gives you a certain set of perks depending on the channel membership level, and you can see all the different perks and the channel membership levels. If you click the join button right below the video, you will get a pop-up window with information about the channel memberships. I will have a quick drink and then let's continue with the next questions. Had to get some funny juice to keep myself moving. All right, we still got a bunch of questions to answer, so let's go through the next one. The next question comes from Hisham from Morocco, and Hisham is applying to study a bachelor's in information technology at the SAMK, University of Applied Sciences, or the Centria University of Applied Sciences in the next application period. And Hisham actually doesn't have a question, but a comment. Yeah, that's why I came here. I would like to say that your channel is very useful for me, so thank you. Well, thank you so much for the positive feedback. I do appreciate it. If you have any questions in the future, do make sure to post them in the chat. I would love to help you guys out if you have any specific questions about these topics. Actually, Hisham has a couple of questions in the next question, so never mind. So the first one is it possible to get a full-time job before graduating and then switch residence permits based on studies to a residence permit on work? No. So you need to, before you graduate, you cannot get a residence permit on work because you need to graduate before you can apply for a residence permit to work in Finland. If you came to Finland originally as a student. So Kay Bolgar, thank you so much for the positive feedback. I do appreciate you. Again, if you have any questions, please post them in the Google form, and I will try to answer as many questions live as possible. But yeah, so no, you have to use your residence permit to study all the way until you graduate, and only after that can you get a residence permit to work. And about the question, can you get a full-time job before graduating? Of course you can. Of course it's possible. But if you do a bachelor's in IT, especially if you do a degree in IT, it is possible to get a full-time job. I would, from my personal experience, I would ask you to consider whether it's a good idea. I actually started working full time 2 years before I graduated, and my studies got postponed by 2 years because of it. Because it's actually really difficult to actually do your school if you're working full time, or at least it's going to slow down considerably. It's not only about time management, but it's also about, some courses might have mandatory attendance, especially since you're doing a degree at the University of Applied Sciences. They have much more mandatory classes than at the university level, so it might not be even possible for you to work full time while doing this degree. Another thing is that it's so easy to get burnt out, and I've burnt out once really badly. I really don't want anyone to do it. If I can, affect it somehow. So I would really consider whether working full time is a smart thing to do. Fleisch, yeah, do you have a question? Let me know in the chat. Sakura, you're most welcome. I hope that the answer actually answered your question and gave you some value. Let me know if you want me to elaborate on the topic anyway. Anyways, Hisham had 2 other questions. How are the chances to get a part-time job in Kokkola? I'm sorry, impossible for me to say. I have no idea about Kokkola's job opportunities or job market, especially currently. However, do keep in mind that in the field of IT, the job opportunities are better. I'm sorry, not necessarily better, but there are a lot of different job opportunities in the field of IT, so the city might not matter that much. Of course, there are more jobs in larger cities like Turku, Vaasa, Helsinki, or in the capital region in general, but Kokkola, I'm pretty sure that you can do it. However, don't rely on it. Please do not rely on, getting a part-time job while you study. Rather, you need to have enough financial funds to live here without having a job. So just saying that. Third, what is an approximately the average service? What is approximately the average salary for service level jobs? So, for example, restaurants, cafes, bars, grocery stores, what have you. Good question. Good depends a bit on the job itself, but I would say that the starting point is somewhere around 7 or 8 euros, so it's quite low. But it can go, over 11 euros as well. But if you, for example, work for a cafeteria in a cafeteria as a barista, that might have a higher salary. But if you, for example, work as a sales clerk at a clothing store, you will most likely have a lower salary. So, working as a bartender, barista, these kind of jobs that actually require you to have experience, or they are more demanding than, for example, doing sales in a clothing store, they have generally a higher salary. However, they're not that high. So that's why you cannot rely on them for paying for your living costs. Oh, excuse me. The next question comes from Santosh from India, and Santosh has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in the software industry. And the question is, can you tell me what are the tax rates in Finland? How much tax do I have to pay on my earnings? Suppose I have a job which gives me 40,000 euros per year, then how much tax do I have to pay to the Finnish government, and what are the benefits which I can get on behalf of those taxes? So the benefits of paying the taxes is that you can actually stay in Finland. So paying taxes pays for our public institutions like, today we have had 20 centimeters of snow on the streets. The government clears the streets, takes care of everything. The infrastructure, you get the taxes pay for our healthcare system. The taxes pay for our schooling system. The taxes pay for the public transportation system in part. The taxes pay for a huge amount of the public sector in Finland, and paying taxes is mandatory. It's required by law, and avoiding taxes in Finland it's actually a pretty hefty crime. So I would, by the way, I would recommend to anyone, if you ever get offered a job where you think that the company, most likely these are like small restaurants or something, this is the most usual case, where they would pay you in cash without a pay slip. That is actually against the law. You need to have a contract, and you need to have a pay slip that runs down your income, and you need to have your taxes shown, how much you pay the tax for taxes, etc. And actually talking about this, in Finland, when you are employed at a company, so when you're an employee, the company or the employer, they take care of your taxes. They pay they actually pay for your income taxes, and that happens automatically when you are paid your salary. So you do not have to pay the taxes yourself, or you do not have to submit your taxes yourself. So this is actually very highly This is an automatic system in Finland. So if you work for a company, you will be paying taxes automatically from your income. The tax rate is really difficult to say because we have a progressive tax system, meaning the higher your salary, the higher your tax rate is. Of course, we need to be talking about marginal tax rate, which basically means that marginal tax rate basically means that when your income increases by X amount, how much does your taxes also increase per extra euro that you get. So, however, I can actually show you this because this is really cool. So, the Finnish tax administrator actually has a really cool tax percentage calculator that you can use without any kind of login information, and you can actually you can actually get an estimate of your potential taxes that you need to pay by filling a few pieces of information in this calculator. This is because your taxes depend on the city that you live in, your age, your nationality, etc. So it's really hard to say the exact sum without going through this tax calculator itself. But if I give you an estimate, let me just look this up really quickly. Super quickly, just a second. So if you get 40,000 euros per year, your approximate tax rate for your entire salary is 28.8%, and the marginal tax rate is 48.2%. So that means that every single euro that you get over 40,000 is taxed at 48%, basically, effectively. But yeah, 28.8% would be your tax rate if you do 40,000 euros per year. Again, this depends on the individual person, because it depends on the municipality that you live in, etc. So this is just a generalization. Also, one thing that is good to know for everyone is when you are actually looking for a job in Finland, we usually, if we, for example, a job ad has the salary information, we usually write it in income per month, or salary per month. So we usually do not use salary per year numbers. We say, for example, in this case, you would have 3,200 euros per month would be your salary, not 40,000 euros per year. A small detail, but good to understand. Anyways, the next question comes from Saksham, who's from India, and he has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in doing a master's in AI and machine learning, or mobile app development at the University of Helsinki or Aalto University. And the question is, what is the process of applying for masters in Finland, and what kind of credentials are required, like the GRE, which is an aptitude test, apart from a good GPA in my bachelor's program? Great question. Unfortunately, this depends on the university itself, so as well as the program itself. So, for example, GREs are not required by every single program. Usually, GREs are used in more business-related degrees when you apply for them. You might also have to do a specific language test like IELTS, TOEFL, or something else. Some universities, like the University of Helsinki, I know that they emphasize academic record or previous academic record. And some might have, as a requirement, you might have to write a motivation letter. You might need to have a recommendation letter from your professor from your bachelor's degree. You might also need to do some kind of an other aptitude test. So all of the different application requirements depend on the university as well as the specific program that you apply to. So this is why it's such a difficult question to answer, off the cuff. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say here. So please go to the university website and look for the program, and they will have a very specific list of requirements for that program. About the one more thing about the emphasis on the different things, because again, for example, the University of Helsinki, they might have a bunch of different requirements. A previous bachelor's degree, of course, and then they will look at your academic record, your potential work experience or your CV, your motivation letter, a potential interview, an aptitude test, etc. So there's a lot of things here. So the way that these different schools emphasize these or weight these different things is actually not public information, because they do not have to share this information. So it's impossible for me to say which of these things, individual things, is the most important one. However, my gut feeling is that, of course, the previous academic record is extremely important when you apply for masters. But also, if you have a lot of prior work experience in the field, that is also something that is very much in your favor, because that is usually a bit more rare in applicants. So yeah, I think this is as good of an answer that I can give. Orange Machine, I have around 17 questions left, so I'm already far into this week's questions, so I'm sure that your question will come up shortly if you have a posted one. K. Bolgar saying, Boljar, by the way, do I pronounce it Bolgar or like a tough, hard G, or Boljar? But saying, soon I will move to Finland to work for a company that I know have known for years. Awesome. Really cool. You're welcome. Please, you're welcome to move to Finland to work. That's awesome. We need more of you guys. I'm actually really happy. Anyways, the next question comes from Marvin Martinez, who comes from Bolivia, and Marvin is Marvin is still in high school, but is interested in doing a bachelor's degree at the University of Helsinki in sciences. I'm trying to slow down a bit. Optimistic Enigma, you're welcome. I hope that answer gave you at least a bit of context and a value, at least some value. Anyways, Marvin's question is, I'm very good at science and always wanted to study that. Of course, science is a very broad term. There's so many different fields in science. Anyways, but my family cannot pay for tuition. Is there any options for scholarships? I couldn't find anything. By the way, I'm from Bolivia. Definitely. So, unfortunately, the University of Helsinki, I think, does not have any bachelor's degree programs in English currently, which also means that they do not have any scholarship programs for bachelor's degrees if they're not English taught. So I would be looking at other universities in your case. And again, Marvin, if you're still live, I have a video on the channel called University Scholarships for International Students in Finland Explained. And in that video, I go into a lot of detail about the different scholarship options, how to apply for them, how they're granted, etc. And in the video description box, in that video, I have a link to a free Excel spreadsheet where I list all the different scholarship programs in Finnish universities. So go ahead and check out that list, because then you can get a good perspective of what kind of schools offer what kind of scholarships. For example, in terms of science programs, Aalto University is excellent. The University of Eastern Finland is great, as well as, for example, the University of Turku. Depending, of course, on which field you want to study, because science is a super wide, topic. Do you want to study? So the question you need to answer next is, what field do you want to study? Do you want to study astronomy, physics, mathematics, chemistry, biology, geology, psychology, etc., etc. So there's so many different fields that I think this is your next question, especially since you're still in high school. This is the thing that you need to figure out. And after you have figured out what field you want to study, this gets much easier, because then you can start looking for those kind of bachelor's programs in Finland. Rupesh saying that University of Helsinki does have bachelor's programs in English. Let's see. Specifically in science. Let's actually check this together, because if you're correct, I do apologize for giving you wrong information. Thanks, Rupesh, for bringing this up. Let's actually check this out. Just a moment. All right, I'm so sorry, Marvin, and I'm sorry, Marvin. I gave you some false information. Rupes, thank you so much for bringing this up. You're absolutely correct. The University of Helsinki does have a bachelor's in science specifically. So I was wrong. Thank you for fact checking me. This is absolutely correct. So this is a bachelor's program in science, which is interesting. I'm actually surprised, because, as I mentioned, science is such a wide topic that I actually have to check, what does this actually include? What does this program actually include? Let's see. The bachelor's program in science offers an interdisciplinary education that will enable you to work on the cutting edge of exciting basic research and application development in math and statistics, physics, chemistry, and computer and data sciences. All right, cool. That's actually interesting. So I'm pretty sure that after doing a bachelor's of science, you can actually apply for or you have to be able to apply for a master's. And here's actually a list of different master's programs that you can apply to afterwards. So data sciences, life science, informatics, particle physics, and astrophysical sciences. So actually, Marvin, this might be very good for you if you're interested in becoming an astronomer. So you could actually progress after doing this bachelor to do a master's program in particle physics and astrophysical sciences, or, for example, in atmospheric sciences, which is really nice. All right, awesome. Rupesh, once again, thank you so much for fact-checking me. I do appreciate it. I do not remember and know all the facts, so that's awesome to have you actually correct me. Nice, thanks. Yeah, definitely. Orange Machine saying that I need to get into I need some sauna. I actually was in. We had our sauna turn yesterday, but apparently it didn't work. My head is still a bit um, whacked. I think. I'm not sure. Whatever. Anyways, the next question comes from Yukta, and oh, by the way, guys, we're in 24 likes. It would be awesome to get to 25 likes. So if you're getting value out of this stream, please do me a favor and smash the like button so that we get to 25 likes with this live stream. While I'm answering the answer from Yukta Bhadane from India, and Yukta is applying to do a master's in economics and sustainability at the University of Helsinki, or Aalto University. And there's a couple of questions. The first one: what do students in Finland think about the education they receive? What is the peer mindset, and what are most of their goals? A super interesting question. I would say that students in Finland, especially Finnish students, they don't really think about that much about their education because they're so used to the fact that we have such a high level of education and it is free for Finnish nationals. But if I stop and think about it myself, for example, I would say that I'm super proud of the fact that I've been able to do a master's because that's not given in every single country, especially in countries where the university education is extremely expensive, like in the US or in the UK. So I would say that I'm proud of the fact that I'm able to do a master's. I'm also very confident about myself because I've been able to do a master's, and because of the fact that I know that the level of education here is so high. And I feel very confident about, for example, applying for jobs abroad and doing well in job applications there. Of course, in Finland, because our study culture or student culture / university culture is really relaxed compared to many, many other countries, even in the European Union. Inside Europe, we don't have that much pressure as students. That is the reason why we have, I would argue, the best student life, the student experience in the world, because there's so many different opportunities for you to live a really awesome student life, whether you want to simply just party or to maybe participate in some student activities. And I think that this is on the mind of many students, that they simply want to have fun while doing a degree. So a combination of work hard but then also have a lot of fun. I actually personally don't know that many people who would have done their degree, as fast as possible, just sitting in the library. Rather, most of the friends that I got from school, spent a lot of time doing different kind of student activities and partying, etc. And again, you don't necessarily partying doesn't mean like drinking a lot of alcohol, but rather we have so many different cultural things happening here. It's difficult to explain. But for example, we love dinner parties. We love to, sit down for the entire evening, eat, drink, and sing songs, academic songs. Actually, that's something that we do in Finland. In terms of goals, I would say that doing good, okay at least, or a lot of people are competitive, but most people just want to do good in school and get a job afterwards, or even before graduating, because if you're able to do a part-time job while you're doing your master's, that will guarantee that you will have a job when you graduate, and then getting into your career is so much easier and faster. So I think that's the biggest goal. Then the second question: how are the professors? How invested are they in their students, and how is their attitude towards teaching? Totally dependent on the professors. All of my professors have been absolutely lovely. They, again, as I've mentioned previously, the relationship between professors and students at universities in Finland is very relaxed. There is no kind of formal hierarchy between, in a sense. We all call ourselves with our first names. You can always book an office time to your professor, go there with plain clothes. You don't have to dress up like in maybe some other countries you might have to. how should I explain? It's just super relaxed. They many of the professors really want you to learn and to do well in your career, and you can actually build personal relationships with a lot of professors, especially in fields where, especially in majors where the group sizes are very small, because you will spend a lot of time with the same professor during your study, so people actually get to know each other quite well, and you connect on LinkedIn, for example, on the professional level, etc., and it's a lot of fun. Plus, some professors also like to attend some student events as well, because they have also all themselves been student, and they also like the like the student culture in Finland. And then three, how employable would I be out of Finland after receiving an education from a University of Finland? So outside of Finland, I would say you would be highly employable. Again, as I mentioned, like half an hour ago, to another question, degrees from Finland, especially when we were talking about a master's degree, they're highly appreciated abroad, not only in the Nordics and in the European Union or in European countries, but also in the States and in Asia, and of course as well in the oceanic countries like Australia or New Zealand. Whoops, sorry guys, battery. Um, my apologies, my battery ran out of my camera. Anyway, yeah, so absolutely you will be employable after you've done a degree in Finland. However, I would of course argue that you should definitely stay in Finland, because you will have excellent career opportunities here as well, and of course, it's our intention to get you to study here and then to stay here and build your career here. Not only to get to for you to pay taxes here, but also for you to integrate into the Finnish society and contribute on every single level. That also means that you would be able to get onto a road for a permanent residency and maybe at some point nationality, which would mean that then for example, future children would be able to enjoy the same free education that we have for Finnish nationals here. So, for example, if you want to build a family or get a family while building a career, I think Finland is one of the best countries for that, because family career balance in Finland and free time and work time balance in Finland is awesome. We really don't. It's really hard to explain. We have really long holidays. We work, relatively, normal hours. We don't do like 120 hours per month. I'm sorry, we don't work like for 200 hours per month. We have paid holidays. We have paid maternity and paternity leave. And then if you get kids, they will get free education, free kindergarten, free healthcare, etc. So definitely, I would recommend that you actually stay in Finland. All right, awesome. We're actually at 30 likes. Awesome. Thank you very much, guys. I do appreciate it. Again, I will take a sip of water before I jump into the next question, and so that I don't run out of energy. Meanwhile, let's actually look at the chat just a bit. So we have Bolgar saying that Bolgar is pronounced with a very strong G, so Bolgar, I would guess. Natig saying, could you please give some information about recognition of prior learning in universities of Finland? That depends on the degree, the university and the degree program that you're applying to. So it's really a hard question to say, but having a good GPA or previous academic record is always a positive thing. Matar Shak saying that I'm applying next year. Too excited already. Awesome. I really hope that all of the information that I'm offering here on the channel will help you actually get admitted next year. So do let me know if you have any questions that you would like me to maybe create a dedicated video about in the future. For example, when you go through all the videos that I already have on the channel, please leave a comment saying that, hey, would you be able to make a video out of this topic? I read all of your comments. I try to reply to every single one of them. It's nowadays a bit more difficult because there's so many of you guys nowadays, but I still read every single comment coming onto the channel. So if you have any suggestions about future videos that you would help you guys to get admitted, I would really appreciate some ideas. And yes, saying that sometimes I feel like the Finnish government is paying you to make us stay in Finland. Basically, yeah. Basically, they will. At a certain point, they will start paying you to stay in Finland. So, for example, this is something that you might not have heard, or if you might have, is Finnish nationals who go to school, to university, we're actually paid to go to school. So what this means is that we actually get a monthly stipend or a grant as Finnish national to go to school. In addition, we actually can get a government guaranteed student loan as Finnish nationals. So if you, for example, want a family, and you also want a career, I really recommend staying in Finland because, you know, family life, career life balance is awesome here. And if you want kids, you will be able to provide them with just an awesome future here because all of the, you know, structural things that we have here, it's super safe here to raise a child. There's a huge support network for new mothers and fathers. And, you know, of course, the education here for your child would be awesome and free as well. Awesome. Excuse me. All right, Fleisch, I'm actually getting to your question right now. So the next question comes from Fleischman ES, again from Hungary. And he is still in high school, but is interested in doing a bachelor's in computer sciences at Aalto University. And the question is, how good do you think I can learn the Finnish language in 4 years? 4 years is actually quite a lot of time. So if you really put yourself into it, especially if we're talking about while studying. So after you have already moved to Finland to study the bachelor's, you can actually learn a lot in 4 years. And I would not say that you can learn Finnish to a native level, but you can definitely learn Finnish to such a level that you're able to, you know, use it in work life. You can, you know, talk in day-to-day conversations fluently, and you can actually start living in Finland in Finnish. Again, not necessarily on a native level, but you can actually start, you know, speaking to everyone in Finnish every single day, and that would be awesome. About this, people ask me all the time, what is the best way to learn Finnish while studying? Excuse me. My answer here is actually by taking Finnish language courses at the university or at the University of Applied Sciences. A couple of reasons. Number one, they're free of charge, or they do not cost anything extra because they're a part of your curriculum. So you can do them while you're studying for free. Second, you get the best teachers in the world, of course, because they're, you know, Finnish language teachers. They have a degree in Finnish language education. They will be the best teachers in the world for Finnish language learning. Third, you can actually put those courses, Finnish language courses, towards your degree. So you actually get credits for learning Finnish. So that's awesome. And then, you know, fourth, you will have a class of other students who are also learning Finnish. So you will have a lot of, you know, peer support in terms of learning the language, because everyone has the same goal and everyone comes from kind of similar backgrounds as international students. So definitely, if you want to learn Finnish, you should absolutely take as many Finnish language courses in the university during your studies as possible. All right, the next question comes from Lea Tsidanzek from Turkey. And Lea is interested in doing a master's at Aalto University in the field of IT. And the question is, does the HIV or AIDS medical test Is the HIV or AIDS medical test required when applying for a job or applying for a residence permit in Finland? No, it is not. It is not, and that's it. Yeah, that's it. Unless there are specific jobs that for some reason are impacted this by this kind of a test, then yes, of course, but no, absolutely not. That is absolutely not something that you're needed to do. The next one comes also from Fleischmann ES, from again from Hungary, and the question is: Do you think what do you think? Is 1,000 euros per month enough? Question: Is this supposed to be for your living costs? Because if it's specifically for your living expenses, 1,000 euros is absolutely enough. After you have paid for your tuition fee, because that's going to be enough for your rent and for your groceries, and you will most likely have money left enough afterwards to party, to travel a bit, do whatever. What's up, Kim? Hello, dude. What is up? Awesome to have you here. We should actually chat. Actually, Kim, send me a message on WhatsApp. We should really do online, have a beer or coffee online. Kim is actually a schoolmate of mine, studying at the University of Helsinki. So everyone say hi to Kim, who is in the live chat. By the way, Happy New Year. Hopefully you had great holidays. But yeah, 1,000 euros is absolutely enough, even if you live in Helsinki. Totally. So yeah, for living costs, absolutely, and you will have some money extra as well, unless you live in the most expensive student apartment in Helsinki that you can find. The next question comes from Jacob from Spain, and Jacob or Jacob, I'm not sure how to pronounce that in Spanish, is still in high school but interested in doing a bachelor's in international business in YAMK, University of Applied Sciences, and the question is. My question is off topic, and it's the following. Is it true that in Finland students start college once they are 20 or 21? What was my case, and how many gap years have you taken until you applied to college? Great question, actually. It's not off topic at all. This is actually a good question. First of all, actually, we don't even call the schools here at college, because we have a different kind of system. So if you, for example, Google College Finland, you will get really weird results, because after high school, you either go to do a university degree, so you apply for a university, or you do a degree at a University of Applied Sciences. So the difference here is that universities of applied sciences are more practical, while universities are more theoretical. And in general, at universities of applied sciences, you only do a bachelor's, but in universities, you do both your bachelor's and your master's, straight one after the other. So that's why we don't usually use the term college in Finland. However, so it's true that in Finland students start college once they are 20 or 21. That is actually not true in general. So people usually apply for university when they finish high school, meaning that when they're 18 or 19 or 18 basically. But since Finnish students have to apply to universities through an entrance examination, they are pretty rigorous, and the intake percentage is somewhere between 10 to 15% depending on the school, which means that not all students are admitted each year or on the first go. So for example, I applied to Aalto University twice, meaning that I had to spend 2 years applying for the school before I actually got in. So I graduated from high school when I was 18. And then I actually had to do my mandatory military service. So in Finland, in Finland, all men have to do a mandatory 1 year or half a year to 1 year military service. After they turn 18, people usually go when they're 18, 19, or 20, but basically after high school. And so I graduated when I was from high school when I was 18, did a year in the military, so I was 19. Then I applied for Aalto for the second time, and I got in on the second try, so that means that I was 20 when I started school, so I go into that category of 20 to 21. However, women who do not have to go to the military, if you get into a school directly after you graduate from high school, you start university studies when you're 19. Some people do like to take a gap year after high school. They, for example, go traveling, they work. However, the majority of people do apply directly to a university or a University of Applied Sciences. Thriving with SAD saying, do you think nurses get paid well in Finland? Currently, that is my role here in America. I know I would need to speak fluent Finnish. This is not even That's a very important question. Unfortunately, this is not even my opinion. Unfortunately, the situation is such that nurses are paid way less than they're supposed to be paid, or what they would deserve, especially considering the current situation. They're putting their lives on the line as the first line of defense, and I don't think they are paid enough at all. The problem is that usually in the public, because we have a public healthcare system, we have a mix of public and private healthcare system. So our healthcare system is not fully public, but it's a mix. So a bit like what they have in France. So nurses, especially working in the public sector, they are not paid that well. And when you're working for the private sector, you might be paid a bit better, but still not that much. I don't remember the statistics, but especially considering what you guys do. By the way, I think everyone in the chat I think we should thank Thriving with SAD as a nurse in the US for helping us as a global society going through the current COVID situation. You guys are awesome. We love you, and we would be absolutely screwed without the sacrifices that you guys are doing. So I appreciate you and your work so much, and that is why I also think that it's so ridiculous and almost insulting how low nurses in Finland are paid. I have no idea why, especially considering that there's a massive shortage of nurses in Finland. How isn't the market forces working here in terms that normally in the private sector, if there's a high demand for a specific type of employee, and it's very difficult to find such a person, the companies have to raise their salaries. For some reason, in the public sector in Finland, that is not happening. Also, it's not also happening in the private sector, which is completely baffling to me as a business student. And it sucks, but it's how it is at the moment. The same goes for the police, as well as, for example, other first responders. For example, firemen, which sucks because we have a family friend who is a fireman, and they're paid catastrophically badly. So. Not like starving wages, but way lower than what their work entails, in my personal opinion. Anyways, the next question comes from Aditya from India, who is starting school this semester at master's level in computer sciences at the University of Eastern Finland. Awesome. And the question is, most of the student dorms that I have seen are not furnished. So how do students get furniture for their dorms? Great question. And this depends a bit on the city that you live in or study in. So depending on the campus that you are, whether you're in Joensuu, Kuopio, or whatever is the third campus, I think. Maybe there's only two, not sure. Usually each university city has their own like secondhand furnish losing my words furniture stores where you can buy furniture. Because you are going to study in the University of Eastern Finland, I'm not aware of the furniture stores there or the secondhand stores there, so I cannot point you to a very specific direction. However, one way to do this also is that when you move to a student apartment, you have to consider that someone else is also moving out from there. So a lot of student apartment buildings and student apartment buildings and student apartment providers have dedicated Facebook groups for those apartments or buildings. And I really consider that you join these Facebook groups because usually there's a lot of people there, especially in between, right in the middle of semesters when people are moving in and out. There's a lot of people selling and buying secondhand furniture for their apartments. So I think this would be one awesome way to go. Secondly, there's a couple of national secondhand stores that you can look up. Actually, as a tip, on the channel, I have a video called How to Save Money as a Student in Finland, if I remember correctly. And in that video, I actually share a couple of links to a couple of secondhand businesses that sell furniture that are great. Not sure if they have those stores in Kuopio and in Joensuu, but I think those would be a great place to start from. But yeah, I hope that this helps you at least get started. Excuse me. Anyways, the next question comes from Arthur. And Arthur, again, is from Brazil and is interested in data sciences. And the question is, Oliver, how did you take notes during your lectures and calculus mathematics classes? Using your laptop, paper, tablets, apps? If so, any app recommendations? And just out of curiosity, did you need to hand in bunches of And just out of curiosity, did you need to hand in bunches of assignments and university projects during your bachelor's? Thanks. Yes, I did. It's been a long week already. So great questions. There's a couple of things here, so let's break this down. So about the note-taking during lectures and calculus especially, this was actually very hard for me, and I really struggled with this during my first years. So we basically have mandatory mathematics classes or courses only during the first year in business school. I didn't have any math afterwards. Most of them were accounting math, so that's a bit different because it's all done in Excel. However, the only kind of calculus where I had to actually calculate something by hand, that we had, those courses we had during the first year. And of course, during the first year, I was completely confused about the different methods for me to take notes and do, especially during lectures, considering that you have your lecture notes and then you need to take notes, and most of the things that the professor writes on the wall, they're not in the lecture notes. And then if you don't get the notes from the wall, and then if you don't write the notes on your lecture slides, then you're screwed because there's multiple sets of information. So there was a couple of apps that I tried, all of them failed. But I think that the best way to do this nowadays, if you have the money, is to buy an iPad. And then there's an app for iOS called Notability by Ginger Labs, this one. This is actually a really cool app. So I used this during my first year, specifically for math, especially. I haven't used it for years because I haven't had the need for these kind of note-taking systems afterwards. But as you can basically see here, you can do notes or write and draw on the notes with your Apple Pencil if you want to. One of the problems why this didn't work for me that well, especially with math, because back then, like 8 years ago, we didn't have the Apple Pencil, so I had to do everything by with my finger, and doing equations with your finger is super time consuming. And after I had done one equation, the professor had already done that assignment and went to the second one, so I completely lost myself or track. So, but this is really, really nice nowadays. And in terms of note-taking and note-taking systems, I have two YouTube channels that I really can recommend. First is Ali Abdal. Ali is awesome. Ali has a lot of really good, not only note-taking videos about note-taking, but he has a lot of really good videos about studying systems and study methods. He basically ranked #1 at Cambridge in medical school, so you can really trust that he's doing a really good job. I've personally learned a ton of stuff, really interesting techniques from Ali, so that's highly recommended. And the second one is Tom Frank. So Tom is basically the original learning technique YouTuber. I've referred to Tom's videos in many of my own videos, and I really recommend Tom's note-taking videos especially. He talks a lot about Notion, for example, as a tool for managing your life, and I again learned a lot of really interesting stuff from Tom. For example, my entire life management system and note-taking system is basically being plagiarized from Tom because he has such a good system for himself. So check out those two channels, subscribe to Ali as well as to Tom, and start going through their different catalogs of videos. They're awesome. You will not regret it at all. And then, out of curiosity, did you need to hand in bunches of assignments and university projects during your bachelor's? Yes, we did indeed. The first year especially, you need to hand in something every single week. There's constantly assignments that you need to work on and submit. So it's a lot of work. Especially since most of the topics that you're learning in your first year, they're completely new to you as a high school graduate. The first time you've ever heard of things like basic economics terms. So you have to start from zero. So it's a lot of work. Anyways, Matar Shak is saying that Remarkable is also a good tool. Not sure about the price though. Yeah, Remarkable is actually a really interesting product, but I think it's overpriced. I actually tried to look at it, into it a while ago, because it was I've been looking for like an ebook iPad type of thing, but I think it's too expensive for what it is, because it doesn't have the same flexibility as an iPad, for example. However, iPads are really expensive nowadays, but I think they are definitely worth the money for a student. The next question comes from Dennis, and excuse me. The question is, what do you think about the amount of salary given to teachers in Finland? When I look at it on the internet, it is written that they give about 3,570 euros per month. Do you think it's too little or normal or too much? That's almost like smack in the middle of the medium income for Finnish people, or Finnish, people in Finland. So 3,570 euros is actually a really good salary I think for a teacher. Of course, it's not the level that you can get as a business graduate, but there's a reason for it. Of course, businesses, especially if you're like working in the finance industry, the salaries can get extremely high, but there's a reason for that. But I think that 3,500 euros per month is completely decent. That is more than a graduate normally would do, so it's definitely a good amount of money, and you can actually do really well with that money in Finland. Again, you have to consider, for example, if there's any Americans watching this video, you have to consider that, okay, so 3,570 euros would be 42,480 euros in per year, and that would be 52,000 USD per year. So it's not that much on American standards. However, you have to take into account that we have free healthcare, especially if you are a permanent resident here. We have free healthcare. We have extremely well functioning public services. Everything is working in our day-to-day life. For example, with the COVID situation, we're actually doing really well. We're one of the best countries in the world currently in terms of COVID. And that is all because of the level of taxation that we have here. And also you need to take into account that, for example, if you do 100K in the US versus 50K in Finland, in the US you have to pay, absorbent, just insanely high prices for your healthcare. And for example, if you live in large cities like in Los Angeles or California, in the big cities there, in Washington or in New York, apartments are extremely expensive. They're like, I have a couple of friends who are American, and they have told me about the prices of apartments there. It's completely nuts. So that's completely different here. We have way cheaper apartments here. Also, for example, you don't have to save up for education here because, if you have, for example, kids, you don't have to have a college fund for them because the education here is free for Finnish nationals, etc. So it's all about the context. So 3,570 euros per month is decent money. Cool. All right. The next question comes from Sakura. And the question is, what are the possibilities to take Finland? What are the possibilities to get a permanent residency to Finland after completing a master's degree in Finland as a non-European citizen? Great question. And I would like to say that I'm not an immigration specialist or expert, so take everything that I say with a grain of salt. However, as I've understood this, how this works is that in order to get a permanent residency in Finland, or in order for you to apply for a permanent resident permit, you need to work for 4 years full-time in Finland after you have graduated. So after you graduate, or if you have a job, even prior to graduation, you can then get a residence permit to work here. And after you have worked for 4 years, then you can apply for permanent residency. And unless there are some heavy reasons for you not getting a permanent residency, you should most likely get one as long as you make enough money to actually, do well here in the future as well. But yeah, absolutely, permanent residency is definitely a thing that you can get after you graduate. You simply have to get a job and then work for X amount of years here. Also, I've heard that because you will have to stay in Finland from 3 to 5 years, depending on how long degree you do, whether you do a bachelor's or just a bachelor's or a bachelor's plus a master's. And I've heard from some sources that doing school here will also be counted somewhat towards that 4 year. Not entirely, but for example, if you do a bachelor's and a master's, then not completely sure about this, but if I remember correctly, you only need to work for 3.5 years or something in order for you to apply for permanent residency. But yeah, I don't remember that exactly. But yeah, absolutely, yes, you can get a permanent residence permit. The next question comes from Thomas from India, who is applying to the Aalto University, for a master's degree in IT, data science, or software engineering, either at Aalto University, the University of Helsinki, the University of Tampere, or Oulu. Awesome. And the question is regarding the scholarship opportunities in Finland for the above-mentioned courses in the stated universities. What are the chances of getting scholarship for an international student in the mentioned degrees? And how often do people land up a scholarship from the above-mentioned courses while doing the monetary planning? Do I need to take into account the entire fee itself, or can I keep myself a margin of some percentage for a scholarship? Great question. So first, the first question, so what are the chances, or what is the percentage of people who get a scholarship? I don't know. Simply put, that is not public information, how many people actually get them each year. So I cannot give you any information on that, unfortunately. And also, this is not something that you can Google, because there's the universities never publicize this information because they don't have to. So that's why if you hear numbers from like Reddit or internet forums, they're either they don't know what they're doing or what they're talking about, or they're lying, or they're just simply wrong. So unless you hear explicitly from a university that, okay, we give scholarships for this amount of people out of this many applicants, you should not trust any numbers that you hear on the internet. However, about the monetary planning, I definitely think that you should prepare for having to pay at least half your tuition fee when you plan for your studies in Finland, because it's not given that you get a scholarship. I would use a kind of a worst case scenario principle in this, or a principle of what is a principle of caution, basically, meaning that when you do your calculations for the money that you need, at least consider 50% of the tuition fee. One, because there is a chance that you will not get a 100% scholarship anyways, and if you don't get that, you need to either pay for that with your savings, the 50%, or you can pay some of it with your savings and some of it with part-time job. Not all of it with a part-time job, because that's not possible, at least in the beginning. But yeah, so definitely have a margin for the scholarships as well. Really good question, by the way. Yevgenia saying, for those who didn't participate from the start, yesterday we had the first member-only stream. Guys, if you have very specific questions, do become a member. It's the least we can do for this channel. Yevgenia, thank you very much for the plug. So yeah, what Yevgenia is saying is basically, if you become a member and you join the channel membership, at least on the Kandi level, which is the second level, you can see all the levels and the perks if you click the join button here below the video, right there. If you become at least the Kandi level, you can actually get access to YouTube channel members only, so exclusive live streams that we do once per month. And those are the same principles as here. However, there's way less people, so we can go way deeper into your questions, and you can actually send me questions beforehand. I will look into them and prepare better, so they won't be as off the cuff as here, and then I will be able to help you even more. It's basically like a soft version of personal tutoring in a sense. So if you are valuing what I'm doing here on the channel, if you want to help me actually grow the channel in the future, I would really appreciate if you guys would consider becoming a member. If you cannot afford, or if you simply don't want to, that's also fine. That is also totally fine, and I still appreciate every single one of you for being here. Yevgeny also adding, I'm not an advertiser, but Oliver does an insanely important job. Thank you. That's really, really cool to hear. I really do hope that you guys are getting some value out of these videos. By the way, talking about it, we are currently on 40 likes, which is awesome. I think our highest like rate on a live stream during the live stream itself has been 50 likes. So it would be awesome to get above 50 likes before we end the stream. So if you could please smash the like button if you haven't yet done that, so that we can actually get to 50 likes before the end of the stream. Excuse me. Anyways, let's continue with the questions. So the next one comes from Andrea from the US. And again, Andrea is considering a bachelor's in nursing / becoming a paramedic. And the question is, do you think it's doable living in Helsinki and going to school in Lappeenranta or Jyväskylä? No. Without reading the rest of the question, no, basically. I don't think it's realistic. Andrea also saying, I know that those cities are 2 to 3 hours away from Helsinki. Arkada in Helsinki requires B1.2 Finnish level to apply for the nursing program, and I'm not qualified, but I really want to live in Helsinki. Andrea, that's a really good and important question. No, I don't think it's realistic to think or to assume that you could live in Helsinki and then go to school in Lappeenranta or Jyväskylä. Not only is it going to be quite expensive for you, first of all, because apartments in Helsinki are much more expensive than in Lappeenranta and Jyväskylä, so you will be paying a much higher rate for apartments in Helsinki for the duration of your studies. And secondly, the 2-3 hours of our commute to the school every single day, especially considering that you have to go there and back again, so that's 4 to 6 hours of commuting every single day. Not happening. I'm sorry. Also, that is also going to be quite expensive because you would have to take a train every single morning and evening. So now I don't think so. Or of course it's possible, but I would not recommend it. Rather, what I would recommend you to do, considering that a degree in nursing is a bachelor's level degree, it's I think the nursing degrees are at YAMK and LAB. They are 3.5 years, I think. So basically live there in Jyväskylä or Lappeenranta for 3.5 years, and during summers come to Finland to work as a nurse. You will absolutely be able to get a summer job in the field, especially since you already have a background in this. So you should be able to actually get a job, not necessarily as a nurse because you need to be certified, but in some kind of healthcare related job. So then you could live the summers in Helsinki because Helsinki is a summer city. It's an awesome place. It's an awesome place, for God's sake. Helsinki is an awesome place during the summers, and then after the 3.5 years, once you've finished your studies, unless you're able to do them faster, by the way, which you definitely can do since you already have a background in the field. Then you can then move to Helsinki, and in Helsinki we have a massive shortage of certified talented nurses, so you will absolutely be able to work here as much as you need and want. You will not run out of hours in Helsinki as a nurse. I'm laughing because it's sad, but it's also true. Thriving with ASD also. Andrea, thank you so much. Upgraded to the membership to Kandi, undergrad student. Kandi is basically a shorter version of kandidaatti, which is a Finnish word for undergrad. Thank you so much. Awesome. That is so cool. You will get also access to the members only streams, and I will also start uploading more behind the scenes videos. So again, if you have any questions about basic day-to-day life in Finland, leave any comments either in the video comments, or send me a DM in Discord, or just for example send a pinged comment on Discord in any of the channels, regular channels, and I will be then putting on some behind the scenes videos to the members community tab. And by the way, talking about this, the members only live stream is every single month on the second Wednesday of each month. So I think next month that would mean it's the February 10th at 5:30 p.m. Eastern European time, so EET. So at the same time as this stream as well. All right. The next question comes from Dennis, and the question is, as you know, you don't need to take an exam to be able to enter some study programs in Finland, correct? For example, being selected to the study program that I will apply to consists of two stages, and there is no exam. However, this is at the University of Oulu, a bachelor's in teaching. All right. However, there is an individual meeting of 20 minutes on the second stage, so basically an interview, sort of. We are probably talking about why we chose this study program and our aims in this meeting, but I'm not sure. Do you have any information about this meeting? No, but I think that you're pretty, correct in what the overall themes might be. So if you think about the application process, overall, and you think about the actual meeting or / interview, and what the themes and topics might be that you are asked about, or what you talk about. When you apply, you submit an application which includes your background information, your high school diploma, your potentially your motivation letter, if there is one, your CV, if one is needed, etc. So you already give all the kind of background, basic information about yourself in the application. However, if the application does not require you to write a motivation letter, in these two stages, especially if the first one is some kind of a group exercise or whatever, and the second one is a meeting or an interview. Basically, what I would do as a recruiter or as a examiner is I would want to know, why are you how are you separated from the pack? So every single person who has already progressed to that second stage is, academically viable to be accepted to that program. So in that case, you need to separate yourself from the pack, and this would, in my mind, this means that they will be asking specifically about your, career, plans. What do you want to do? Why do you want to move to Finland, for example? Why do you want to study in that specific school? Why do you want to study that specific field? So all of these questions about your personal motivation. And I would also seriously try to think of an answer already in your head to a question: why do you want to move to Finland to study? I'm not saying that this is something that you will be definitely asked. However, I would prepare for this kind of a question, definitely. But yeah, I think that you're in the right track, definitely. Yevgenia saying that we have 1 like left to get to 50 likes. That is true. So if one of you still is able to smash the like button, or unless they're already broken, so that we can actually get to 50 likes. Oh, that's so cliche. Anyways, the next question comes from Yuva from Lebanon. And he's already studying in Finland at LAB, University of Applied Sciences, doing a bachelor's in BIT. That would be business technology? No? Bachelor's in IT, is it? Is it a bachelor's in IT? I would guess so, yeah. The question is Kela and FSHS belong, do Kela and FSHS belong into the same company or organization? Great question. The answer is no. So what Yuva is talking about here is Kela, which is the... Whoops. Excuse me. Messing up. Kela is the Finnish social insurance institution, which is a part of the government. So Kela is a government organization, basically taking care of the social network, social safety network in Finland. However, FSHS, actually, let me show this. So Kela, as a reference, so Kela, or the Social Insurance Institution of Finland, is a Finnish government organization taking care of the social safety network in Finland. However, FSHS, which is the Finnish Student Healthcare Service, is a student-run and student-owned, university student-owned healthcare service provider. So this is basically a private healthcare service provider which only serves university and University of Applied Science students in Finland. They do not serve, anyone else except students. However, they also do not have every single healthcare service, available. For example, they do not have emergency rooms. So if you have an emergency and you have to call an ambulance, you will be directed to a public hospital, not a FSHS hospital. So, for example, FSHS services include different appointment services, health examinations, laboratory examinations, birth control and sexual health information, And for example, the appointment services, there's public health nurses, psychiatric nurses, physiotherapists, general practitioners, oral hygienists, dermatologists, dentists, psychologists. So they have a very wide collection of services that students can use during their studies in Finland. And you can use FSHS services as long as you are a member of your respective university student union, because then you will have to pay since after you have paid the FSHS healthcare payment, annual payment, which is not much. It's like €100 per month, if I remember correctly. So nothing. Anyways, the next question, I'm sorry, Juva had a second question. Can I transfer my credits of first semester to another University of Applied Sciences? The general answer here is no, you cannot, because the first year courses in different schools are different, and they usually are not transferable as a general rule of thumb. There might be some exceptions, but this is a good thing to keep in mind. The next question comes from Ashok, who's from Nepal, and applying to a master's in computer sciences at the University of Helsinki. And the question is, what is expected in a personal study plan that is generally asked during application in Finnish universities? That is a good question. I'm not fully sure because I've never had to fill that in for myself for the application. But I would guess that you need to basically list out the different courses that you want to do during your studies. So the curriculum for your major is, or your degree is going to be available somewhere on the university website, most likely. And my understanding is that you need to simply create a personal study plan, meaning which courses you want to take. However, please take this with a grain of salt, because I've never had to do this myself, but this is what I've understood. The next one comes from Mazia from Poland. Awesome. We're actually getting people from all over the world. Really awesome. The only two countries that I really would like to see here, because of the massive time difference, is Australia and New Zealand. And maybe, somewhere from China, for example. Anyways, Masia is applying to do a bachelor's in art and design, either at Aalto University, University of Tampere, Applied Sciences, or the Uni Arts Helsinki. Awesome. The question is, do you know what is the approximate amount of IB points needed to get in? Unfortunately not. I'm very sorry about this. I unfortunately do not know the answer to this question. Again, this is not public information with most schools. Some do release the information, but you have to take into account that if for example Aalto University releases the minimum IB points, International Baccalaureate degree points that you need to have at minimum in order to get admitted. You have please note that is the minimum number for the previous year, meaning that since in Finland admission is granted on a competitive basis. Again, that means that only the best applicants are accepted each year. And they will have a fixed amount of people that they get in. So not everyone who passes that specific number get in, rather a specific number, and then you're graded on a curve, meaning that, the better the overall candidates are each year, the higher the minimum grade is going to be each year. Meaning that if you look at the number from last year, that is not necessarily true this year. So only use that as a benchmark, and then aim much higher than that number when you apply. But yeah, unfortunately, I can't give you any specific numbers. Please go and check out the university websites. They might have some information about that, but I have not bumped into this information myself yet. We have a few questions left. The next one comes from Dragan Disnuts from France. And he's applying to do a bachelor's in economics at Aalto University. And there is a bit of a long question, but that's fine. Let's go through this one by one. So, can you talk about the schedule of classes at Aalto and in Finland in general? I heard from another Finnish YouTuber that it's different than from other countries in Europe. Good question. That of course depends on what country we're referring to. Of course, France is a bit different, but I've never studied in France, so I can't talk to that. However, schedules. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, here's more. So, for example, here in France and in most Central European countries, classes follow the same schedule the whole semester. So our weeks are very consistent. Every class starts at the beginning of the semester and ends at the end of the semester. Yeah. Okay. Cool. We know, for example, that every Wednesday will be the same until the end of the semester. So we can plan our activities, sports, etc. accordingly because of our schedules do not change. In Finland, however, from what I've understood, every week is different and classes start and finish whenever. Exams are not always at the end of the semester, etc. Isn't it stressful to have a schedule that changes every week and that you can't predict? How do you plan your activities if you don't have a fixed schedule? And is it the same at Aalto University? And how does it work? Great question. No worries about the long message. Good background information. I hope that you're still live, actually hearing this answer. So, actually, before I answer, let me just get a sip of water. All right. So, you are partly correct, partly incorrect, or you have heard information that is partly correct, partly incorrect. So it is true that we do not have the same schedule throughout the entire semester, taking into account that one academic year has 2 semesters, so autumn and spring. However, so what is important to note is that the 2 semesters are divided into 5 periods, 5 study periods. 2 of which are held in autumn, and then the rest of the 3 are held in the spring. And usually these are 6 weeks long. Each period is 6 weeks, and your classes will change from each period, because one course is usually one course is the length of one period, meaning 6 weeks. However, some courses might also be 2 periods long. But I've not bumped into any single course that is 3 periods. So courses are either 1 period or 2 period long, so 6 weeks or 12 weeks. So in this case, that means that you will have the same schedule for that course, for that specific course, for 6 weeks or 12 weeks. However, and as a general rule of thumb, if you take only courses, if you take only courses that are 1 period long, so 6 weeks, then you will have a consistent schedule for that 1 period, so for 6 weeks at a time, meaning that you will have almost always, there's always some exceptions, like, classes might go, on top of each other, so they have to change times. But as a general rule of thumb, you will have the same classes at the same time on the same dates for 6 weeks. And then at the end of that 6 week, we have an exam week. So always the week after the 6 weeks, so the 7th week is always an exam week. And we usually have all of the exams from that period during that 1 week. So you might have 2 exams in one day. The schedules differ quite a bit. But usually you have like all of your exams spread out during that 1 week. However, if you have some courses that are 6 weeks, and then you have, for example, one course that is 12 weeks, that also of course means that 12-week course is going to bleed into the second period, meaning that course is going to stay consistent throughout 2 periods, but then you will have to change the rest of your weekly schedule when that second period starts, because you will have new courses at that point. So yes, our weeks are pretty different, throughout the year, but no, they do not change every single week. They change every 6 weeks, basically. Of course, again, some courses might have, the lectures a bit more inconsistent. I do have had some courses like this, and they are pretty frustrating. But because we do have the schedules for each course already, we have the information about the schedules already beforehand, so we can easily schedule, mark every single class, assignment, workshop, everything in our calendars already, 6 weeks beforehand. So it takes a bit of work for, scheduling, but there's no problem on scheduling your hobbies or activities or anything else. You just need to learn this new kind of a system. It's going to take a while, but you will figure it out after you've been here for a while. And after you come here, just use take as much help from your personal tutor as possible, because they will be able to help you figure out how the system works. But I think a really good question. I don't think it's stressful per se. I would actually say that it's nice that the schedules change around the year or throughout the year, because if I had like the same schedule for an entire semester, I actually think I would get bored. It would become really dull after a few months. So I actually say that it's nice to have some changes, but this is personal. So, but yeah, good question. Yeah, Yevgeny saying thanks to the person asking the question about the 6-week courses. So Draken, the awesome question. Thank you very much for that. Emilia Villacres from Ecuador asking, first of all, Emilia, welcome to the stream. Asking, can you recommend a health insurance in order to get a residence permit in Finland? Unfortunately, I cannot recommend an insurance company myself. However, let me see. Just hold on a second. I think... Just a moment. I'm trying to look up a specific page. No, I can't find... Yeah, unfortunately I cannot find... There was a web page on the Aalto University website that I know that they have a couple of recommendations, but I cannot find it right now. But I would recommend that you go to university websites. They usually have recommended health insurance companies. I don't know any of them because they're all global companies, and I have all my insurances in Finnish companies, so unfortunately I can't help you here. Anyways, the next question from the forum comes from Rupesh. Again, thanks for correcting me earlier. The question is, hey Oliver, I finally am here in Helsinki. Awesome, welcome to Finland, and I'm interested in working on a research project with a professor at University of Helsinki. How would you recommend I proceed further? I am actually enrolled at the university, but in a different program. Interesting question. Depends on whether or not you already have a research plan. So yeah, okay, good. Make a plan. Make a research plan and then contact the professor directly through the using his or her university email and phone number. So send an email, call back, call afterwards and tell him or her that you send an email and you have this kind of a research project and you already have a plan for it, and would and ask whether he or she would agree to have a meeting and go through the plan and maybe proceed from there. I think this would be your best tactic in this case. I actually don't have any other recommendations because I think that you simply need to be directly in contact with the professor itself. Not through the faculty, go directly to the professor. The next question comes from Safwan. Or Safwan. If you're still live, let me know in the chat how do I pronounce your name. Safwan. Anyway, he's from Morocco, and he's already studying in Finland at Aalto University, doing a master's in computer sciences. And question is, some master programs have a max amount of places. Does this number include all the bachelor students who are getting into the masters without an application? Great question. I don't know the answer into this. If we're talking about, however, so what he's talking about is in terms of does this include the number of bachelor students who are getting into the masters without an application? This basically means that when you do when you are done with your bachelor's, then you can automatically proceed to a master's program. So you don't need an application. So if you are admitted to do a bachelor's degree at a university in Finland, you are automatically also admitted to do a master's right after you graduate as a bachelor's. So this is what he's referring to. So some master programs do have maximum amount of places. So that's a really interesting question. I do not. Safwan, right? Safwan. Thank you. So I'm not 100% sure. My guesstimate is that it will not impact, because if there's a direct application for that master's program, I'm pretty sure that they have already earmarked a specific number of spots for people who apply from outside the university. This is not based on any information. This is just based on my guess. But if the question is about will this impact your chances of actually getting into the program, I would not worry about it. Yeah, I would definitely not worry about it. I don't think it's going to have any kind of an impact, even if the places would also be, even if the places might be also taken by bachelor's graduates. Yevgenia commenting to the 6 week long courses, saying in our country we had the same timetable for the whole semester. We had to pay attention to several subjects at the same time, so we didn't have an opportunity to dive deep into one field of studies. In the Open University now we have the same 6 week system, and it's so convenient to plan my time myself compared to my previous studies. Yeah, I actually think this is it's much easier for you to actually plan your studies, because you can do that 6 weeks at a time. You don't have to stick to a certain schedule for 4 to 5 months at a time. Scarlett, welcome to the stream, saying, hey Oliver, I just passed to hear what's left of your stream and also to leave my like. Thank you so much. We're still we're actually currently in 51 likes. Keep on with the great job. Thank you very much, Scarlett. We've gone through a lot of really interesting topics today. So if you want to listen to the replay afterwards, for example, if you go for a walk, I think there's a lot of really interesting topics, not just about the practices of studying, but also some things about life as a student in Finland. Anyways, the next question comes from Joshua, who is a regular on the streams. Joshua, I hope that you're still live. Joshua is from England, from the UK, and Joshua is still in high school, but is interested in doing a master's in global business law in Helsinki University, University of Helsinki, Aalto University, or the University of Tampere. And the question is, how possible is it to do a degree master's in Finnish? I've literally just turned 16, so I would have I have over 5 years to learn the language. I have already started, but only on starting level. And a degree actually in Finnish would be helpful, from what I've heard, for working in the Finnish legal sector. That is true. And if so, what level clearly high would you recommend? This is a tough question, because I'm not actually even sure whether you can apply for a master's program in Finnish unless you have a bachelor's done in Finnish. I'm pretty sure you can, but I'm not sure how it works. Um, well, yeah, definitely. If you do if you study your master's degree in law in Finnish, that is definitely going to help you in terms of practicing law in Finnish, because of course legal practicing is regulated, and you need to have a certain certificate or degree in order to practice specific type of law. As for example, if you want to be a lawyer instead of like a business, instead of learning business law, and then you would become a counselor for or a consultant for a company. Those are two different things. My overall like general guide for anyone who wants to study in Finnish in Finland is, first of all, don't do it, because you would need to learn almost native level Finnish. So you basically need to be almost native level in order to be able to study in Finland. So yeah, sure, you have 5 years, but I'm not sure if it's possible. I don't want to give you any false hope, but although on the other hand, I don't want to smash your I don't want to smash your dreams in this. I would really focus on figuring out how much you actually need to learn in order to do this from a credible source, for example, directly from the universities themselves. So I would actually recommend that once the application processes for this year are done, I would contact the universities and admission services directly via phone or email, and then talk about this topic with them, because I really don't have any. If I would need to give you a benchmark, that I would say you need to speak native Finnish in order to do it. It's not going to be easy otherwise, unfortunately. Andrea, you're welcome. Rupesh, you're welcome as well. Dennis saying, "Hi Oliver, thank you for answering my 2 questions. I was coming from behind because I had to go for my English lesson." That's fine, Dennis. We've gone through a lot of stuff. So if you want to watch the entire live stream or listen to the live stream in replay after today, that's going to work absolutely fine afterwards as well. Anyways, the next question comes from Tessa from Nepal. And Tessa is applying to do a bachelor's in software engineering or information technology in the next application period. And the question is, what are the requirements for scholarships in IT and engineering sectors for international students for bachelors, like in Tampere University of Applied Sciences? Again, unfortunately, this question has come up quite many times already in the stream. Tessa, I'm so sorry, I cannot give you any direct answers here, simply because I don't know, because the requirements, or the minimum requirements, or the way that the schools weigh the different criteria, because there's multiple different criteria that they assess. For example, your high school diploma, your motivation letter, your exam, if you have to do any kind of exams, your language exam, aptitude exam, entrance exam, whatever you have. There's multiple criteria, and the way that the universities weigh these different criteria is not public information. So it's impossible for me to say for sure what are the minimum, or even what are the requirements for getting a scholarship. They don't have to publish this information, so they don't do it. And the problem is that this information, the requirements also change year from year, because scholarships are given to only the best students or best applicants each year, and the level of applicants changes every single year, which means that the level that you are required to be at every single year is also going to change. So it's an impossible answer for me to answer. It's a super common question, and this is one of my videos about scholarships in Finland are some of the most watched on the channel, for a good reason, but I simply cannot answer the question. I'm sorry. Matar Sak actually commenting on this. Yesterday at Aalto University's webinar, I noticed that it is based on the SAT exam score, so the scholarship. Oh, that's actually interesting. So if that comes from Aalto University's webinar, then it is coming from a credible source, which means that it is true and you can follow that advice. However, you also have to take into account that the SATs the SATs are only required at Aalto University on bachelor's level. So if you want to get a scholarship on the master's level, then the requirements are all again going to change. The same thing goes to every single other university, because some do not take SATs. Some want you to take the SATs plus something else. So that's why it's going to change between every single school that you apply to, and whether you apply to a bachelor's or a master's. And when you apply for a master's, then it's going to depend on the actual requirements for each program. So yeah. Rupesh, definitely just go ahead, contact via phone if that's not too expensive for you to make an international phone call. Because some of the universities take quite a bit of time to answer your questions via email, especially in the middle of the application season as we are right now. Anyways, the next question comes from Salve, and I'm sorry for butchering your last name. Chornak, ZS, it's written in ZSH. Jornak, is that close? Salve Jornak, from the Philippines. So Jornak, not sure. Anyways, Salve is applying to the Metropolia University of Applied Sciences to study a bachelor's in healthcare. Awesome. And the question is it possible to pay half of the tuition fee before I start the studies, or can I pay the tuition fee in installment basis? Unless the university or the school explicitly states that you are allowed to pay the tuition in installments, then you are not. As a general rule, you need to pay the tuition fee in full before you are allowed to enroll to the school. So this means that when you are admitted, you need to first pay the tuition fee in full for the first year before you can do anything else. And again, unless the school explicitly states that you can pay the tuition fee in installments, no, you cannot. And I have not heard of any school having these kind of installment-based payments. So I would say that a general rule of thumb, especially for Metropolia, is that no, you cannot pay them in installments. So you have to pay them in one go. Awesome. That's a lot of questions for today. Just let me grab a bit of water. All right. I think that's it for today. We have already gone for 3 hours. That's a bunch of questions. I hope that you guys have been getting a lot of value from this. I hope that your question was answered during the live stream. Once again, if you're getting value out of this live stream, make sure to smash the like button so that we get to 55 likes. 3 to go to 55 likes. That would be, I think, the highest like rate that we have actually gotten on any live stream, during the live stream as well. And if you guys are valuing what I'm doing here on the channel, and if you during these live streams and the weekly content, again, I preface I would really appreciate it if you would consider joining as a YouTube channel member. Again, you can see all the different perks of becoming a member by clicking the join button right below the video. Whoops, right there. And for example, if you are at least on the Kandi level or higher, so the second level of memberships or higher, you get access to the channel member exclusive live streams that we do once per month, where we only have a very small amount of people at the same time live, and you can send me questions beforehand. I will prep for the questions better than for these, which are weekly live streams, which are quite off the cuff. And then I will be able to basically give you personal tutoring during those live streams. Anyways, we have gone for almost exactly 3 hours. Once again, thank you so much, guys, for all the great questions. If you are not for some reason a member of our Discord channel, there is a link to the Discord server. There's a link to join the server in the description box below. If you don't know what we're doing on the Discord server, we're basically building a community of people who are interested in studying and working in Finland. And on the server, we talk about. I post updates about upcoming videos and live streams, and we have a lot of really cool discussion, and people help each other, for example, on university application related topics. So make sure to apply. And once again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Love you all. Thanks for all the support, and